Welcome back to Gavin's Sonex B build. Well, we finished the aileron, I just can't say that word, aileron. Okay, and it's time to do the flap for the left wing. So I wanted to demonstrate what I'm actually trying to achieve, and so here we go. We'll swap around the other way. And there we have the wing with the completed aileron, and next to it I've put the skin for the flap. So I've not done anything to it yet. It's got two of the ribs actually inside it to make it fairly rigid for the purposes of this little test. And what I've done is I have positioned it where I think it ought to be when it's in the fully up position. So I've got the aileron in its neutral position, and I've got the flap in its fully up position. And as you can see, there's a slight gap between them, which is supposed to be a slight gap between them. But I've got them as level as I can, running my finger across here, and the top surface of the flap is level with the top surface of the aileron all the way along. And to achieve that, when I'm building, I need to position. I've got the a piece of hinge temporarily sort of put in here. Got to position the hinge vertically on the leading edge of the flap to achieve that, because obviously the bottom end of the hinge is fixed now to the wing, so we can't move that. So all we can do is alter the position of the hinge on the flap. And I've calculated that it's about 3 millimeters different to where it tells you to put it on the drawing. And that looks far better to me. The flap looks as if it's part of the wing and it's level with the aileron, unlike the flap on the other wing, which is proud of the aileron and also proud of the top surface of the wing when it's in this position. And seeing as it spends most of its time in this position and only gets dropped for takeoff and landing, I think it's best to get it right for the aerodynamics over the top of the wing. So that's what I'm going to try and do. So basically there aren't many parts to making the flap. We've got the skin. One end of the skin has to be trimmed to fit against the outside of the fuselage, so there'll be a cut across here. And the other end has got to be cut and trimmed to fit the drive arm on the end rib. No, it doesn't. No, I've got it the wrong way around. The drive arm is on this end, so the other end doesn't need to be cut at all. So we've got one rib in here, another rib, and then the inboard one here, which has got the drive plate attached to it as well. And then obviously the hinge has got to be fixed on. So pretty straightforward, and that's what we're going to get on and do now. More later. So working from drawing W06, Looking at the flap skin, we need to cut the end. Having remembered from last time that actually the picture is upside down, and or the drawing is upside down, and the top is at the bottom and the bottom is at the top. So I've now marked out and cut off the end, and it's looking somewhere close. And then the next thing to do on W06 is the left-hand drive rib assembly. Got the two parts out for that. Marked, I don't know whether you can see it, a line 5/16 or 8.2 millimeters in from these two edges. This is pre-laser cut with some holes, and all we have to do is line up the holes with the lines and then drill it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll get a couple in there to start off with just to locate it, and then we'll go around and drill all those holes, and then up drill it, and then deburr it and rivet it. There's also an anchor nut which needs to be attached to this position here, so we'll get on and do that as well. Just a quick update. We're about 2 hours into doing the flap, and so far I've completed the drive plate end rib, and that's currently test fitting inside the skin that you can see there, and I've marked out and cut out the hole, and this is where the drive, the flap is currently upside down, and this is where the drive arm for the flap comes through and attaches to the hole in there, which has got the captive nut behind it. If I drag this out for you, this is the completed drive plate rib, and one of the interesting things on this is it's the first part that you have to do really that has countersunk rivets in it, and it's quite interesting trying to get them all flush, not too recessed but recessed just enough. And there's the captive nut on the other side, which the drive arm attaches to. So there we go, that's where we are at the moment. Next task, I'm going to mark out all the drilling lines for the holes for the ribs, to attach the ribs. So there'll be one there, one around here, and one at the end. And so I'll get on and mark those out, drill all the holes, and then it's time to drill through those into the ribs and take it from there. Well, I've done another couple of hours this morning. I'm hoping to get the flap finished today. So what have I done? I've drilled all the ribs and they're in place, leveled it all up, and made the hinge, and drilled and fitted the hinge on. And this time, rather than using the 1.4 millimeter offset for the hinge from the bottom surface of the flap, I'm using 2.8. which I think is going to bring the top surface of the flap into line with the aileron and the top of the wing. Of course we won't know that until I've actually riveted it all, because you can't test fit it with the clecos attached. So it's all a bit speculative, I suppose, and we'll see whether I'm right or wrong. But the hinge is looking nice all the way along, and all the ribs are in place. So we've got the drive rib there. The ends of the skins need filing up once it's all riveted together to make it look pretty. And there's the outboard rib as well. So that's where we are. So now it is up drilling time, and then some deburring. See you later. So an hour of deburring, and I've reassembled it with its copper clecos, and it looks a bit like this. And the good thing is that after I took it all to pieces, deburred it, and started to reassemble it, every single hole lined up properly. So that gives you a little bit of confidence that actually it is right. And I've checked it for level at both ends, and it is straight. It doesn't have any twist in it, which is good. All we've got to do now is rivet it together, and then we get to find out whether or not my calculations on where to put the hinge are actually correct or rubbish. And after 45 minutes of riveting, we have the finished flap. And there it is. It just needs the ends cleaned up, a little bit of filing, and there it is. Looks very nice. It's flat, which is good. And the next thing I'm going to do is fit it to the wing temporarily and see whether it lines up. I'll let you know the result. And I think that's a big round of applause for me, because that looks a lot better. We've got just a tiny little bit proud there, and it's pretty good all the way along. It's exactly the same as the aileron. The join is pretty spot on perfect. Everything's at the right level, and I am happy with that. It's a lot better. So best to check that if you're doing it yourself, to make sure that the hinge goes on in a position which gives you a decent finish. Anyway, there we go. That was the flap. So I'm going to take it all apart now, and the wing is going up onto the mezzanine for storage. The flap and the aileron will join the other ones up on the shelf there, and I've actually got to make an exhaust pipe for my kit car next, so I'm going to do that. Should take a day or two to fabricate that up. So I'll be putting all the, I've got all the silencers and tube and everything. So I'm going to stick that, once I got rid of the wing, that's all going on this workbench, so I can weld it all together. And then we start work on the fuselage, which is going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to that, and it'll give me something new to do rather than mess about with wings and ribs and thousands of rivets. Mind you, I think there's still a few thousand rivets to go in the fuselage. But anyway, I'll see you soon. Cheers, bye.